What's up, party people? So we got Mr. Chad Hawley here with us. Sorry, I'm unwrapping samples. Um, dude, Chad was beyond generous with this, and he, man, he sent me Wild Turkey Through the Decades. Um, what years are they, Chad?
I gotta try to remember which ones I sent you. I know for sure it's the 1976 101,
81,
1981, 92, and then after that, I think I sent an 01, an 09, and a 13. And then I'm assuming you have the regular one.
Yeah.
So we can kind of compare how it's changed a little bit every decade. Oh, yeah, I sent that too. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's just a little special treat. That's a little extra.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, that stuff's super good.
There's the 09. Yeah, guys, I haven't even taken this out of the it came in and I was like, ooh, I got to keep these together and
yep.
Make sure these stay safe. So I left them in the bubble wrap in the package. It's like I got no one to impress.
Nah. Yeah, I'm pouring them up now and let them open up a little bit.
Erin said if I drink all it, she's going to be mad.
Yeah, so most of these I just had 2-ounce samples of, and I just split the samples. So that's why that's not too much. But
no, dude, that's freaking awesome. I couldn't ask for any more. I mean, there.
I can't afford bottles of all these, to be honest. So.
Oh, got it. Today's prices?
Yeah.
No, not many of us could. So I'm going to go ahead and start opening these up a little bit. So how you been, man?
Been good. Work's been crazy.
Yeah.
You know, work at a hospital, so with all this going on, it's just been madness.
Right. That's definitely a thing that's happening.
Yeah, that's what bourbon's for, though.
It is. I thought you sanitize yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. Sanitize my insides. Also,
have you gotten...
Go ahead.
I mean, you haven't gotten sick yet, right?
Oh, no.
And you drink bourbon?
There you go. Direct correlation.
That's obvious. That's obvious the only thing that it could be. So.
Yeah, you're right.
By the way, people, I am not a doctor, so don't take my advice. I don't give medical or legal advice. I do give medical and legal advice, but you should not listen to it.
I can't see the live chat, by the way. I don't have my computer, so if anything comes up, let me know.
Tommy Minshew says you're an a-hole, and
okay, cool.
Pete says F off, and
okay, love those guys.
Not really, but
I know. They would never. I don't have any Minshew pours, and I don't even have enough to pour a Minshew pour on these things. So,
right. But that's okay because they're going to be freaking delicious. I'm expecting.
Yep, I'm excited to see the difference. To be honest.
And you can, like on some of these, they are super dark.
Mm-hmm. So you notice a little pattern. At least I do. As it progresses, it gets a little lighter.
Like if you guys can see, that's the 76 versus the 2009.
Yep.
Like that's a crazy difference.
So, and the 76, 81, and 92 are age stated 8 years. That doesn't mean that it didn't have older stuff in it.
Right.
But it's at least age stated. Whereas after 92, I don't remember the actual date. I think it might have been around 92. They stopped the age statement. So it actually might be a little younger, or at least have younger barrels.
Right. So, Roger, we have Wild Turkey from 76, 81, 92, 2001, and 2009. So, that should be exciting. So, like part of me says we should start with 76, but another part of me says we should start with the 09.
Yeah. Also, eventually, we don't have to do it right now. The regular off the shelf too. I want to compare to.
Yep, I grabbed one to handle, but I grabbed one.
Perfect. Because that's what everybody's gonna get, obviously.
Right. for sure.
I want to say start with 76 because it's going to be delicious, and we can kind of trend down.
Right.
Yeah, that's
But
me.
also, the more you drink, the better it gets. So
That's true. That is true.
if we started with the 09, by the time we got to the 76, it'd be like drinking gold, man.
Or it just may taste like water. I don't know.
Yeah,
All right.
I've never had a turkey. I had a turkey decanter from the 70s or early 80s.
Mm-hmm. I
And,
think the 76 might be from a decanter. The rest of them are from bottles.
It was fucking gold, liquid gold in a bottle, man, or decanter. But
All right. I'll make the decision. Let's start with 76 because I really want to drink
Okay.
it.
all right. You just can't wait. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't want to start with something that's close to what I've already been drinking like 3 days a week.
It's hard to beat 101, man. It really is.
It really is.
So 76 going into the Four Roses glass.
It smells really good. Disclaimer, at least a little bit of research I did, not much. I don't like learning too much. 76 is possibly either all the way sourced or at least partly sourced from back in the day.
All right.
So it may have a different profile than the rest of them. Don't know yet. Hadn't tried them. But at least that's what Rarebird said. Up until 81 can at least contain sourced bourbon. So
Yeah, Freddie, that was water. And hopefully Rarebird can join us. I sent him the StreamYard link.
perfect. Yeah, if he jumps in, we're gonna get a lot of knowledge about these things.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping. He's live right now, so he's a little preoccupied. It's his birthday today. We'll have to wish him happy birthday.
Oh wow! Yeah, if he gets on.
God.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was gonna wait on you to actually make comments. You're right.
That is stupid.
It's amazing how different it is.
I mean, granted, I was just drinking a Russell's single barrel, but that is so dark, chocolatey, fruity.
I was gonna say some dark fruits for sure. That's what jumps out at me first.
Oh my gosh. Tarak, yeah, it is Dave's birthday, so hopefully he jumps in here and we can all wish him a happy birthday. Oh my dude, that is stupid. Like,
it's amazing. So I was drinking just this isn't old or anything, just the Export 13 year right before this. Huge difference already. Huge difference.
I mean, that is so dark.
It smells older.
It does.
And I don't mean like from 76. There's older.
Right. But
longer.
Like stock-wise, like.
Yeah.
Oh man. And I mean, there was definitely a plethora of bourbon back then. People were wanting clear spirits, and in some of those decanters, maybe not Wild Turkey specifically, but some of them, they were bottling up to like 20-year barrels, just because they had to get rid of them. Like, and that's why they came out with the decanters, because you know what I mean, like make something collectible or something different that people want.
Something had to sell so that
like,
it didn't overage.
Like,
oh man, that's good. Gosh. And I've heard that with the old 12-year stuff too, is actually contained a lot of their real old stuff. It wasn't like 12 just the minimum. So like the Beyond Duplication and the Cheesy Gold Foil stuff, all minimum age of 12, but contained a lot of older stuff. Yeah,
realistically, there was a lot more.
That's why it looks like motor oil when you pour it.
All right, I got to taste it.
Let's do it. I'm excited. I could nose it all night, but we got a lot to go through.
For real. Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
I'm in trouble.
Oh man, that's a lot more like brown sugar, like dark sweet notes, like little tobacco.
I was going to say
type
there's
stuff.
definitely those old. Again, like we're talking bourbon wise, not like it's sat around a long, like it's been in
Like
a
well
barrel.
aged.
Yeah, it's been in a barrel for a number of years.
Yeah, age stated 8 years for this this one all the way up into 92, like I said, but it obviously tastes and smells way older than that. I don't know. I don't even want to know what a bottle of this goes for, but last I checked, the decanters are actually still a pretty good deal, considering, anyways.
Comparatively speaking. Right. And I will say that a lot of those decanters, if you're not careful, they have really dry corks on them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much a guarantee that you're going to break the cork when you when you pop it. But I actually just had a guy a buddy up the street from me. One of his friends was over that I've never met before. We were talking about bourbon, and he's like, "Well, dude, I got this this old decanter, and it's from some sort of Weller Stitzel something or other."
Oh God.
And he's like, he's like, "I've never opened it." I was like,
"Give it to me."
I'm the papa. And so he trusted me to take it home with me, and he wanted to open it and drink it. So he trusted me to take it home, and because I was telling him what he had to do with like filtering it and all that. You know, you got to you're probably gonna have to break the cork, and
of course, unfortunately,
put it. I said through a metal strainer, preferably, so you don't get that.
Yeah, I have a French press, and that works wonders.
So use that, and he was like, "Dude, if you want," he's like, "you can go ahead and take it with you." He's like, "I trust you," and go ahead and do it. And I did, and the cork was definitely broken, and about half of it was gone, and it is super cloudy.
Oh no, cloudy's no bueno.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I was looking forward to that so much.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
He's like, dude, he's like, bring it up, and he's like, well, we'll all have a pour. I was like, done, man, done. But now I was like, oh,
no,
man.
I don't do cloudy.
You do take a chance with those decanters.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why they're actually a little cheaper if you were to buy them off secondary too, is because it's a little bit of a gamble. Actually, a lot of bit of a gamble.
Right.
But this, I'm pretty sure, actually came from a decanter, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, perfectly clear.
And most of these, pretty much all of them, actually, I just found a guy selling samples out of his open bottle, so there was no risk. Saw, juice was good, great price, awesome way to do it. Yeah.
I mean, especially for, to get to try something that you've never had before, and unless you're willing to shell out some serious money, you probably never will be able to try it.
I've got probably 20 Dusty Turkey samples from. It was the same guy that just kept opening like his stock, I guess. Right. And he made a lot of money off me, but I got a lot. I got a lot of samples, so it's worth it because I would never be able to buy a lot of these Dusty bottles.
Oh no, and that's just
the chance of cancer. Yep, definitely. All right, you want to move on to 81? I know we can sit here and drink this one all day.
Dude, I could just it's changing and it's evolving, and
yes,
it's just so good.
It really is. This one for the 81 we're about to do. This doesn't mean anything, but it is David Jennings' favorite Dusty Turkey. Is the 1981 101. At least that I've heard of.
The 81?
Mm-hmm. That's his favorite.
All right.
If you go to his website and look at his top 5 or 10, whatever it is, this is number 1.
Very different on the nose.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go do a little back and forth. Just on the nose, anyways.
A little more floral.
Yeah.
More like a candy sweetness than like a molasses sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
That's.
I want
Ah,
to say it might smell a little spicier to me too. Like, I mean, I'll tell more of that on the palate, but it smells like it might have a little more spice to it when we go to sip it. And another thing, this is the for sure year that it is all distilled wild turkey, no sourced.
right.
So I don't know if that's going to have a
Good to
huge
know.
difference or not.
Good to know.
I have a wild turkey rye. I don't know if I brought it out or not. Yeah, it's distilled in Pennsylvania. It's from like the 60s, and I'm saving it for a special occasion. It's what they call the Christmas rye when it's that green and red, that super old bottle.
Right. Mm.
I think I like the nose on this a little more. It's got a little more to it to me.
It does. It's a little more complex. It's not. It's not as dark, but
Mm-hmm.
it's got a little more in there.
It's got more to it. Yeah. The 76 had a little less to it, but did it better. But I like having a little more variety.
Right.
All right, I'm going in.
Me too. Cheers.
Definitely more spicy. Just
Yep.
right off the jump.
Yep, for sure. Still has some age on it, but not
Mm-hmm.
like the 76.
I agree.
You do get like those barrel, the oaky, a little bit of oakiness to it,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of charred, but it's not like that super old leathery.
It's very good though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot. It definitely tastes younger. Fruit spice. I get a lot of the caramel sweetness. A little more caramel sweetness than the 76 for sure. Not getting the leather tobacco notes like you just said. The older notes from
No.
this one.
Well, I said it still has some age on it. It's just not.
Mhm. A lot more of the spice, which it kind of makes me like it more. I don't know. It's kind of hard to compare them now because they're kind of opposites now. Where
Right.
this one's a little more spicy, and then the other one's a little more
So,
leather tobacco.
Going back to what you were talking about before, that would not surprise me if the 76 had stuff other than turkey in it.
Right. Yeah. We'll
Because
figure that out.
they taste very different.
Right. So as we progress here, I would assume the rest of these will have the same profile, varying just a little bit.
Right.
Whereas these two should have been the biggest jump, considering that wasn't all distilled by Wild Turkey for the first one. So
Right. But I mean, on the color, the 76 is a little bit darker, but
okay, another thing to note there, which they're pretty close in my glasses, but that's just in glasses. Decanters, which I'm pretty sure the 76 was, are darker in general. I don't know why. I don't know if it's age or if it's just being in the decanter. But if you get a 76 bottle versus a 76 decanter, the decanter is darker. And I don't know. Not sure the reason in there. I have no idea. Redbird would probably be able to answer that. But
I mean, that could go back to that.
Trying to get stock out.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. Getting rid of old barrels. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Finding
yeah.
somewhere to put them.
And that would make sense because a lot of people say that the decanters are better when you get a good decanter. So that would make sense actually if they're trying to get rid of old stock and put it in something that's going to sell. So
Right.
I like this though. So my palate,
Yeah.
I like the little bit of spice kick with this too. So I like it a little more, but completely different. So it's kind of hard to compare.
Yeah. Like you said, they're so different. Like
It's hard. It's hard. It's just like tomorrow
it's
night.
like
I may
apples
like
and
the
oranges.
other
You know what I
one
mean? Like it's hard to
right.
pick. Like they're just different.
Mm-hmm. And they're the same proof, and that's probably why I like the 81 a little more. The 81 drinks hotter, and I'm
It
a
does.
barrel proof guy. So
Right. Yeah, it
But-
does. Yeah, Chad's got that 139.4.
I am a fan of the 139.4, just a little bit. Yeah. Oh, it's cat's out of the bag on that one, man. I'm sorry.
Right.
That price is through the roof these days. I can't even get any more.
Yep. I thought about trading a bottle to get one, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, people are catching on that one. I've gotten
Well, then again, I mean, I go into the secondary a few times a year, and every time I go in there, I'm like, it's stupid. Like
it gets worse weekly.
it gets worse every single time, and I'm like, there's no way it gets worse from here. And every time,
It does.
they find
It's
a way.
stupid. It's stupid. Some like there used to be some stuff, and there's kind of is some stuff that's sort of a deal if you live in places like Alabama, like me, where it's already expensive and you can't find anything. So
Right.
back when you can't even find this now, but Stag Junior was $80 a pop on secondary shipped,
Right.
and I could get that all day long. If I found it, if it somehow popped up in a store around here, it was $80. So
Right.
easy for me. I can get it whenever I wanted. Same thing
Um,
with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
I still think I was going to say I still think the best buy on the secondary is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof because it's
that
pretty much
yeah.
retail.
that one hasn't went up. Yeah, so there is some things good about secondary, especially for me because I can't find crap around here. But there's some stuff that's just, or most everything else is just stupid.
Oh snap!
What's up, man?
What is
There
up?
he is.
Happy birthday, sir!
Oh, thank you,
Happy
man.
birthday! Just for you, we got a turkey flight.
We were just getting into the 81.
Oh shit, that's a. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt your.
Oh no, you're good.
YouTube there.
You haven't
Um,
watched his live streams very much.
Well, you know, I've had a few. I've had 101 and Old Tub and 2002 and Masters Keep Bottom Bond and Booker's 30th and
Right.
some 13-year
goodness.
Kentucky Spirit. I've gone through quite a bit, and I don't have long. I do need to. Well, thank you. I do need to get off and soon, but I did want to check in. I appreciate you inviting me there, Kyle. So
Absolutely.
so what go ahead and kind of catch me up. Where are you and Chad at? What you got going?
So we have we got into the 76.
Oh,
We
Okay.
got in. We got
is that a
into
bottle or a
the-
decanter?
Decanter, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
The 81 we just got done with, and I was just going to get into 92, and then we have the 01 and 09 also.
Okay, cool. So, all right. Now, again, how many of those are decanters? Just the 76?
Just
or-
the 76 rest of
Okay.
my bottles.
Okay, and the reason I ask that is I don't ever review decanters because they are like so like hit or miss, night and day. Like, you know, it all depends on storage and this, and so you
We
know,
were just talking about that. Like,
yeah, you can have one that's like completely mind blowing, amazing, and you can have the exact same decanter and pour it out and it tastes like total trash. So you know, they call it decanter roulette for a reason.
right.
But
I have I was lucky enough just this last week. Someone had a Stitzel Weller decanter,
oh wow,
and it was still sealed, and on the inside it was all cloudy and
yeah,
it was
hate
gone.
that. It happens. It happens
It
with.
does.
I mean, you know, these things weren't really meant. You know, it's kind of like it was the decanters were kind of an effort to kind of save bourbon. You know, it was like
Right.
you know we'll make collectibles and maybe people will buy them. They didn't really care about you know the liquid as much as making some profit off a collectible.
Right.
And you can tell. I mean, you know, they weren't meant to stand the test of time.
And I've heard too from a few sources then that, you know, obviously back then everyone was buying clear spirits, and a lot of that was they were just trying to get rid of really old stock.
Yeah, I mean,
They had some really
you
old
had that
barrels.
whole era where you know bourbon just wasn't a popular drink in any sense, and some of that had to do with the counterculture because you had, you know, bourbon was popular in the 50s and early 60s, and then you know you had these teenagers, and they didn't want to drink what their grandfather and father drunk. They wanted to have,
Right.
you know, vodka, light whiskey, whatever. And well, actually, light whiskey was an attempt, to try to, compete with lighter spirits, blended whiskeys and vodkas and all this kind of stuff. I'm not an expert in any sense, but from what I understand, the bourbon industry was in a tailspin and doing everything they could to kind of, make some money. So, Jimmy Russell invented honey, and then, light whiskey was around, and the canners were another effort. It was like all this kind of stuff to try to, at least profit out. Yes, you're right. A lot of old barrels went into just everyday bottles and decanters and stuff. So, it might say 8 years, but it could have 15-year whiskey in it easily.
Right.
And you can taste that. If you taste those bottles from the 80s and the early 90s and the late 70s too, you get a lot more oak. You get a lot more of the dusty funk, as you would say, as opposed to the stuff that you taste now. And right. Michael Beach had a cool article about it. The color of whiskey was different too. So if you pour these older whiskeys, they're red. They're like, different tones of red, like light red to dark red. And now it's all like more amber, and orange in nature, So and he had some theories about that. So definitely check that out. But
yeah,
totally different thing.
He is one that is a wealth of knowledge.
Well, he's a bourbon historian, so he's got a lot behind him. Yes,
I would love to have. I haven't even asked him yet, but I would love to have him on at some point.
He's got to definitely do that.
His article. He's got one called "Old Bourbon Bottle Flavor," and it's about kind of what makes a dusty bourbon taste like an old, like what gives it its character.
Right.
And it goes from everything to like the water supply to the wood that was used. I mean, it's a really interesting read. So, I believe his website is bourbonbeach.com. Could be wrong about that.
It is.
But, folks, check it out because there is some really interesting information on there that, it might surprise you.
Now, Chad was saying that the 76, it's very possible that it's not all sourced from Wild Turkey.
What's that?
The 1976 Wild Turkey.
Okay, so there's a yes and no to that. Okay, so I asked Eddie about this one time, and the answer, and this was actually on a AMA and Reddit back before the blog really took off. Yeah. The answer was basically everything that Wild Turkey produced from the day he started, in 1980 forward was all Wild Turkey. He's like, I can't vouch for what Jimmy did, but I can tell you what I did and what we did. And he said, from that point forward, everything that was bottled was Wild Turkey. Now, I used to think that there was this period there in the 70s where it could have some source whiskey in it, and theoretically it could. But the more I got to talking to the Russell family, particularly Roger Street, who's Jimmy Russell's grandson, this is Joanne's brother. I started getting a understanding that Jimmy does not like to bottle anybody else's whiskey under the Wild Turkey name. He just won't do it. Right. Like he won't put his name on it. Okay.
I mean, fair.
And so this is why you find that in early 70s, when JTS Brown was purchased by Austin Nichols and Wild Turkey became the Wild Turkey that we know today. Okay. This is why you find things happening like Jimmy sells a bunch of barrels to Julian Van Winkle because they had all these old Boone stocks, and Jimmy didn't want them. Jimmy did not want to bottle something that was not made by him. So,
which is very Jimmy-like.
Yeah. So I'm starting to think that when that purchase happened, in 71, 72. When Austin Nichols came in and purchased the distillery, I believe it was 71 actually. When they purchased the distillery, Jimmy basically got rid of the stocks that Austin Nichols had that weren't his. He's like, I'm only going to bottle my stuff. Now that we're the distillery, this is what we're going to go with. That's the impression I get now. So, yes, there's that theory there that it could, and I once believed that, but now I'll lean more towards, I think that, once Austin Nichols purchased the distillery and made Jimmy the man, that
Right.
those barrels went away. So
Mhm.
that's my belief. I don't know if that's necessarily exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
And we were talking about earlier, the 76 versus 81 are just so different
Mhm.
that we could definitely see it being sourced. And I don't know if it's because it's from a decanter or not. The 76 was amazing too, so it wasn't like it was a bad decanter by any means.
Yeah.
But the profile itself, it just tasted more aged. It tasted, the 76 anyways, tasted a little, had more depth to it. And then when we jumped to the 81, it had a little more of that wild turkey spice. The spice jumped up a
Mhm.
little bit. Just completely different profiles. And we were kind of attributing that to possibly being sourced. And I don't
I
know.
mean, we don't know. So it's
Right.
possible, but for the main thing you said there was when you said the word decanter. I mean, to
Mm-hmm.
me, I think that just kind of that negates the whole thing because
Right.
decanters are such a crapshoot. I don't think they're a fair, vessel to judge the whiskey within. So I think that if it were a 76 bottle versus a 101 from 81, and you
Mm-hmm.
were comparing them, then I think that would be a very fair comparison.
Okay.
But a decanter, I don't know. I don't know if I would go with
Okay.
that.
Okay.
It gets kind of tricky, when you start to, compare all these expressions. You got to remember that, each year different rick houses are in season. So just like, in 2018 through 2019, Camp Nelson was the deal. That was where all these barrels were coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
So, every year that goes by, you find different rick houses having barrels pulled from them. So that to me explains some of the variance too. So, if you're bottling in 76, you may be pulling from, A and D and E or something. And then by the time you get to 81, you maybe you're on like B and F and
That's
G or
true.
something.
And we already know how much of a variance you can get just from warehouses too, just from
Yep,
Russells.
that's right. And that to me is some of the beauty in wild turkey is that, people might say, well, it's inconsistent. Well, okay, yes, there is some inconsistency in batches,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you, were to judge any distillery using, traditional wood-clad rick houses, you're going to find a similar thing happening,
Right.
unless they're just proofing it down to such a low proof point that like you're really not getting the subtleties anymore. You're masking, some of the variants. Um, but I think that that's just going to happen now. You take a brand like Four Roses, which I love Four Roses, but they've got they're basically single story rick houses with like I don't know 6 tiers or something within
Mm-hmm.
the rick house. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to control the variants. Plus, they've got 10 recipes they can pull from. So if this batch is a little bit more spicy, well, we can add the sweeter OBSV or something to it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We can tweak it to where it kind of our batch products kind of stay the same. But with wild turkey, you're going to get a little bit of a roller coaster because they're pulling from different traditional rick houses, depending on the year, and that happens. And also you got to look at stocks age. You may have one year where like you have a lot more aged stocks than another year. So you may not have as many well-aged stocks.
Mm-hmm.
So this year bottling might be more heavy on the 6 year, and this might be more heavy on like maybe the 10 year. So it's kind of like it's got 6 to 10 years, but maybe this is a little more heavy. And that happened, for example, in 2018 when Long Branch came out. Traditionally they had been using a lot of 8 year in the 101 as a flavor
Mm-hmm.
element, and
Right.
that went to Long Branch. So Eddie was left to pull more 10 year barrels to kind of make up the difference. And so people in 2018 were like going nuts because it was like, oh, this has more 10 year bourbon in it. He was shooting for consistency. He wasn't shooting to like, well, I'm going to make this year's Wild Turkey 101 better than ever. He was shooting for consistency. He had to reach for higher barrels or more mature barrels, I should say, to get there. But inevitably, some of those batches turned out to be really, really nice, and a lot of people just go crazy for them now.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like the 2019 and 2020 barrels are just as good, but or I should say bottles, not barrels, are just as good. But everybody, to each their own.
And I've noticed just going from the 81 to 92, that there's quite a bit of difference in here.
Yeah, let me AB a little bit. I get a
Yeah.
little more perfumey on the 92. Like
I tell you what I'm going to do.
Floral, actually.
I'm going to pour. Let me finish up this Booker's 30. If I ain't dumping this,
Oh yeah, don't dump that.
but I'm going to pour a little bit of the 79 101.
Ooh, okay.
That way I'm going to kind of get in the game.
There we go.
I have a 72 from a bottle. I'm going to compare that to my 81 from a bottle, since you said decanters can.
Yeah,
play a
they
big
can
role.
be kind of.
I'm going to do that eventually.
They can mess. I mean, I've had decanters that were just like, people have sent me decanter samples, and I'm like, oh, this is totally drain pour. You know, hate to say it, but you know,
I mean, it is what it is.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I've had other decanter samples that were like amazing.
Yeah,
It-
this
it-
one I would classify as at least close to amazing for sure. The 76 that I have.
And I think that if you have a good fill level,
Mhm.
and you know a decanter that's not in rough shape and the tack strip isn't all just deteriorated away and everything seems to be nice and sound, you'll end up with more often than not a really good bourbon. But there's no guarantee. And like I said, they call it decanter roulette for a reason.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So this is a 79, and it was, when I first opened it, it was like the fill level was fantastic. The bottle's in perfect shape. No UV damage or any kind of oxidization. That was obvious. The cork even came out clean, nice with a pop.
That's
So it had a good seal to it.
stuck in someone's basement or under a crawl space or something for 20 years. Or
Could be. Now, what I find interesting about the 79, and I've gotten this so many times, it has like a little bit of a minerality to it. Not Dickel, but like, if you're familiar with Dickel and it has that mineral type of vibe, this has a little bit of that in there. It could be that the Rick Houses in season in 79 just tend to have that kind of vibe to it. But I get that a lot. Now, this isn't as much as I've had before on some other late 70s ones, but it's there.
I mean, all three of them are fantastic in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I'm not complaining.
Oh yeah, no, they're all
This
good,
is
for
like-
sure.
This is damn good whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to explain the subtleties here.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will take that. They'll, oh, Dickel. Well, I'm not
Right.
buying that.
Yeah, don't drink.
that's not
don't
what I
drink dusty
mean.
Turkey.
I'm saying that there is a mineral
Actually-
tinge.
Keep saying that, and hopefully it'll bring the prices back down.
Yeah, for real.
And I mean, honestly, I like Dickel. Given the right, barrel, if you could find Dickel.
But I know there's a lot of people that
Oh yeah, a lot of people, and the Dickel brand products, they use that mellowing technique and all that, and I think that just kills it. The Dickel barrels that I prefer are like Pursuit Spirits and Barrel Bourbon and these types of things where they don't employ that measure. And
for
you
me,
get-
I've noticed that charcoal mellowing. We're actually in Lincoln County, as in the Lincoln County process, but it gives it this like Tennessee vibe. And I've noticed that through like a lot of different distilleries in Tennessee that it definitely has this vibe about it that
Mhm.
personally I'm not a huge fan of, but
It's something where the average consumer appreciates it.
Right.
I watched a video. It's hilarious. Y'all should watch it. But there is this series of videos where it's like Irish people drink, and then it's like,
oh yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Did you see the one where they do Jack Daniels and Jim Beam? They're like nuts about like Gentleman Jack. Oh, this is just as beautiful whiskey. This is great and stuff.
Right.
The average consumer really likes Gentleman Jack. I mean, they think Gentleman
Yeah.
Jack is some killer whiskey.
Mhm. It's smooth.
I think it's top shelf.
Smooth, easy to drink, tastes great.
Smooth.
Um,
That is the common
and
theme.
and yes, I've had Gentleman Jack many times before, and it is super duper smooth, like to the point where it's like you're not really going to taste much with it, but it's easy to drink.
That's a lot of what the average consumer looks for, right? I mean,
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, like Jack Daniels makes a quality whiskey.
They do.
Mhm.
You may not like the flavor of it, you know what I mean? But it's hard to argue that they don't
Yeah.
make a quality product.
They just don't. They just
You know what I
don't
mean?
market that product like they do their others. So you can get Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, and if you're a
Oof.
bourbon nut,
Yep.
you're gonna freaking love it.
And some of those
Mhm.
are fantastic.
But the average consumer is
yeah.
going to be like, "Oh God, what the hell is this?" You know, it's
Right.
going to be like Booker's to them. You know,
Yeah.
They're going to want more of the cleaner, more finessed, mellowed, Gentleman Jack type of things.
Right.
I bought the Sinatra one time. I got a gift certificate, and I bought the Sinatra. I like Frank Sinatra. I'm a Frank Sinatra fan. I was expecting a lot out of it for the price. And I was just like, dude, this tastes like Jack Daniel's single barrel. Like, I mean, not the barrel proof. I'm not talking about the barrel proof. I'm talking about like the, whatever the 90 proof or whatever it's at,
There's some good barrels, but it's not. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, especially at that price, you expect more.
You do. $150. I mean, it's a liter. It's cool. It's in a glitzy box, and has all this like hoopla about Frank and stuff, and it's really cool. And you feel like you've got something special. You really do. And then you taste it, and you're like, oh,
Right.
Oh, that's
this
it.
is good, but
yeah.
it's like not
Yeah.
great.
At the
you know?
distillery, they let you taste all of them if you pay for the tasting tour, which at one point it was like $50.
Uh-huh.
And I kid you not, they literally gave you like this much
Oh no.
of each one. It was like 4 or 5 of them. I was like,
You have to like sniff it up your nose to like nose
Yeah.
it. Like,
right. Like,
okay, I got a little bit of the nose.
you're not even getting a half an ounce between
Yeah.
5 glasses.
Oh yeah.
I was like, for $50, man, I would have hoped for a little bit more, but yeah, the Gold 27 and the Sinatra and that kind of stuff, like they really weren't anything crazy special.
Yeah, they're not. They're not. The best thing that Jack Daniel's has is that single barrel proof. That is the
Yes,
is the
it
awesome-
If
that's
you
the
can get a
bee's
good
knees.
store pick of that too. Oh,
I haven't had a good store pick. I've just bought the retail ones, but I mean,
oh.
they're
It's- the
excellent.
The store picks aren't as easy to find as other store picks, but
Oh,
they're
which one?
fantastic. Jack Daniel's barrel proof.
Right. Gotcha.
I mean, that's to me. I mean, I just call it bourbon. I mean, that's a fantastic bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
you
really
can
good.
tell me all day about the Lincoln County process and it's Tennessee whiskey, blah blah blah, whatever. It's just good barrel proof
It's
bourbon.
a good bourbon. Exactly
Um,
right.
It is bourbon.
and it tastes like it. That is the best thing that Jack Daniel's has going for it at the moment.
Mhm.
I know they have a single barrel rye. Do they have the single barrel rye barrel proof?
Not that I've seen.
I think don't they have a Tennessee taster?
They
That's the
might have a
barrel proof
taster
rye?
of it. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a single.
I would
barrel.
love to taste the rye barrel proof. That would be
Yeah, I think they have
Killer.
some. It's just hard to find.
I think I have some actually. If I do, I'll send you a
I
sample.
mean, is it something like great or was it kind of like
It
Yeah.
was like Jack Rye.
Okay,
mean-
I got you. It didn't scream out anything different, too far different.
Not that I can remember. No,
Gotcha.
but
Well, there's just so
I'm-
much
I'm
good
about to
whiskey
go.
out there. There's so much good whiskey out there, and I don't want to derail you with your. I know you've got the flight that you got to finish and all that.
no,
but
you're good.
there's just so much good whiskey out there that I think that people are kind of missing, the forest for the trees. They're chasing these, certain expressions or
Buffalo
brands.
Trace.
Yeah, I mean, and there's others.
There is. But
They're chasing a certain name or brand to the point of the FOMO is just taking over their life.
Oh yeah,
And the fact of the matter is that if all this whiskey was just bottled in the same exact jug, like if you had to go to the liquor store and just hand them a jug and they filled it up, they would find that like they could get just as good of a whiskey from so many other brands that they would just forget all about that. But you have this whole like vibe with like the elitism and the packaging and the provenance, all
everyone's got to post it on the gram.
all the secondary kind of stuff. It kind of pollutes the whole whiskey vibe, which is kind of why when I got into Wild Turkey in the first place, one thing that really appealed to me was that it was just it was kind of apart from all that. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of been pulled into that, and so you've got
into the mainstream kind of.
But okay, any vintage whiskey is going to go up in value. Okay, so
Right.
I get that Wild Turkey, Dusty Wild Turkey has gone up in value, just like Dusty anything, Stitzel-Weller, whatever. So people that complain to me that the Dusty Turkey has gone up to a price that they can't afford anymore, well, just look at the people looking for Stitzel-Weller now. It's gone up even
Right.
more than what they were paying for. It's all relative, But there are fantastic whiskeys out there that don't command these premiums. That you can find Knob Creek single barrel. You can find Russell's Reserve single barrel. You can find Jack Daniel's barrel proof single barrel. You can find all of these things with very little effort, and they're fantastic whiskeys. So you can get Rare Breed. You can get 101. There's so many things that you can buy that don't have any FOMO associated with them whatsoever. So anytime you get down about you not being able to find Blanton's or Rock Hill Farms or whatever, one of the tips I'll give people is like, if Rock Hill Farms is like something that you're just dying for and you just got to have it, go get John J. Bowman and just you'll be happy. You'll be you might be more happy. You probably will be more happy. Same thing with Elmer T. Lee. Just get John J. Bowman.
Right.
And
just forget about it.
One of the worst things is chasing those bottles and finally getting it, popping the top, and just being so disappointed that
Happens a lot.
wasn't what you had searched for years.
Yeah.
It just fell flat, and that's the case. Most of the time.
And I'm trying not to knock Buffalo Trace so much because to me,
It's not
Buffalo Trace has some good products at the baseline that are excellent. Like the Buffalo Trace bourbon is fine, at $25.
Right.
Eagle Rare is awesome at $30.
Right.
But when somebody's like, I got Eagle Rare and it's $60, I'm like, why don't you just get Russell's 10? like I can get 2 Russell's 10 for that, dude. And
go grab that.
And that's not Buffalo
Yes.
Trace's fault. That's not Buffalo Trace's fault. It's just that's how things have gotten. And it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of good stuff out there that you can find everywhere. Like I said, the Knob Creek single barrel picks are amazing. Russell's Reserve single barrel picks. Four Roses, if you can find them. Some places are just like there's Four Roses picks everywhere, and then other places are just like they never see them. So it's not a great example, but
we used to have Four Roses on the shelf everywhere here in Tennessee, and now people are lining up the day before.
Really, just for a Four Roses
anything
pick?
that says store pick on it or a single barrel gets gobbled up these days.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Russell's picks don't last; they're gone when they come in.
Really, yeah. That's well. The good news is at least we have some good, standard pours. 101, Rare Breed.
101.
A lot of it. That's what
lifesaver.
Yeah.
What our show is based off of is just getting away from that hype of the label of trying to find actually good whiskey. And I'll tell you honestly, I get more excited these days about finding a really cheap bottle that's delicious than a really expensive bottle.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you were tuned in at the beginning of my thing tonight.
Yeah,
it's like the old tub was $20,
dude,
$20, and it was great. I mean,
delicious.
It was nothing to brag about. I mean, the nose was kind of and the palate was kind of right. The finish was pretty good. I was like, well, okay, that was finished out really nice. But for $20, I mean, I'm not going to complain. If somebody handed me old tub, I'm not giving it away. I'm like, I'll drink that. $20,
absolutely,
great deal.
I would like to see that against the Evan Williams bottle.
I do too. I think that'd be a good. You ought to do that. That'd be a great comparison. Get the bottled and bond Evan Williams and the old tub and duke it out and see which one. Maybe throw another one in there too. I'll tell you another one I'm impressed with, and unfortunately, this has turned into a kind of a, people are feeling the FOMO on it with that whole buyout. But the early times bottled and bond is a great. A liter for $20, at least around here right now. Still, I don't know how long that's going to last, but they still have them for $20 a liter.
I will say, I really the Evan Williams bottled and bond. There's something about it. It has that darkness to it You know what I mean? That
I get a lot of corn with Evan Williams Bottom and Bond. I get a lot of like cornbread.
right,
It just like to me like the word corn immediately hits my brain the second and like so if you're into like popcorn or caramel corn or
right.
cornbread like to me Evan Williams Bottle and Bond is like the corn bourbon, and that's not a knock. That's just kind of it's like a carnival kind of smell. Um, with the early times Bottle and Bond, I get like it almost is a little bit more on the mapley side. Um,
Right.
I get more of kind of like a maple vibe, molasses vibe. If that's your thing, go with that. Excuse me. With the old tub, I'm getting more like it's like a nutty, you get that beam kind of thing with the old
Right.
tub. They all kind of have their own little zone that they occupy. You just kind of have to figure out which one is more your vibe.
Right.
But
Oh, yeah.
they're all around $20 or less and totally worth it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you can spend even going up to $50, right? There is a plethora of good whiskey out there.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
$50.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
plethora. And I would say, like, honestly, in that $30 to $50 price range, there's a lot of really, really good bottles out there that will rival, a lot of the high dollar stuff. All day
Definitely.
long.
Yeah, it's the quality of bourbon that we have coming out right now is people they love to and having these flights from the Glut Air, they're awesome. It's great to go back and reflect upon the older whiskey and how fantastic it is. But let's not forget how good we got it right now. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, absolutely.
you can find fantastic whiskey out there from.
Uh-oh. Was that me?
Oh no.
Was that Dave?
It's him.
Okay. you were really still chewing. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh no. I was just kind of like waiting for him to come back.
David, if you can hear us, we lost you, buddy. Do this one, the 01.
Oh, you
what
moved on. So I was on 92.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't moved on to the 01
drank
yet.
that. It was delicious.
Definitely delicious.
I couldn't stop drinking it.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it, honestly, because same thing. While we're waiting on him, 92, more floral and perfumey for me.
Mm-hmm. And the 81 was more floral and perfumey than the 76.
Right, but even more so now the 92.
Right.
I want to say less spice, maybe a little bit on the 92 than the 81, but it might have been just because of the jump from
Right.
76 to 81 was just like no spice to big spice.
The 01, I'm getting a lot of earthiness to it.
Let me move on to that one. Let me see.
There's like this nice darkness. It's not sweetness, and it's not spicy.
Yeah, it's definitely not sweet.
It's like an earthiness to it.
I'm gonna come. Oh, a lot less fruit than the 92 for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I could see earthy there.
It almost has like a barrel char.
Yeah,
Not woody, but like a barrel char to it.
and
And the 01 is the first one that's not age stated.
right. Yeah, this 92 actually was age dated, so yeah, you're right. But there's a lot of 92s that's when they switched to the standard old number 8 or whatever. I'll say the 01, and I know this is a big jump too from 92 to 01, but
Oh yeah, but still.
01 is more subdued on the nose to me. I almost get like not a licorice note, but something like a. It's good. Less complex, I guess, is what I'm getting at here. It's not. It's more sweet and earthy, like you said.
It's almost this. I almost want to say like a sandy dustiness to it. Not like Rickhouse dusty, but
Right.
like that dry dusty.
Mm-hmm. I'm not getting as much. It may change on the palate, but on the nose, I'm not getting as much spice as we have on the previous two. We'll put this bourbon blind coin back on this.
Which everyone needs, by the way.
That's right.
Everyone needs a whiskey hat.
This is my favorite one if I can pick it up off the counter.
I was really worried that when I had them made, because I wanted them to fit on a Glencairn, and I was worried that they got the dimensions wrong. But
It actually works perfect because it's got a little
They
ridge
nailed
on
it.
it too.
yep,
That
they
keeps
nailed
it
it.
from sliding everywhere. So also have, and not to knock his because his are awesome too, but National Drums
National
coins,
Drums.
they
Yep,
fit perfectly, but the slightest movement, it slides over a little bit. It don't have that little ridge where it can catch. And that's
Right.
just the style of coin. Awesome coin either way, but
it's not metal. You know.
right. And then that's the thing. It's just different style.
Hey, man, you guys deserve nothing but the best.
That's right.
It's like the glasses; they're all deep etched instead of the light etched.
Yeah. So the 76 had the bourbon blind. It's
Yeah,
the only one I
buddy.
got right now, though. The rest of them are Amazon. So I can already see a trend, at least a little bit, to standard
Right.
wild turkey. I've completely lost, at least on this one. I need to go back to 92 and double check here and make sure it's still there in that one. But the leathery tobacco, the older notes we were talking about, oak,
Yep.
dark brown sugar type stuff, I don't get any of that in this one.
No, I was gonna say they're pretty much gone by this
Yeah.
point.
Mm-mm.
And over the years, they've all stepped down that. You know what I mean? As they probably started pulling younger and younger stocks, as they started doing more.
No,
of
it's still really good. I get a lot of good fruits, good cherries.
Oh, yeah.
Good cherry on this, caramel, vanilla.
So don't get me wrong, I definitely wouldn't turn it down by any means.
A little less, and I'll try the standard here in a second, but to me, less spicy than the off the shelf today for this one. A little sweeter.
Yeah.
See, I think this is the standard wild turkey.
And you can kind of see the progression, like we're getting closer to
Mm-hmm.
what I would call today's 101.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's to be expected too.
Right, obviously.
Little younger each time. The profiles have changed at least a little bit. And I wrote this down too. I wish he was still in here. But so David's little profiles. He's got a dusty profile, classic profile, and a modern profile.
Yep.
I would say, and I don't know what years he says it is, but like the old dusty stuff, a lot of tobacco leathers, like we talked about.
Right. 76, maybe 81.
Right. 92, it starts getting borderline, but still a little bit of the dusty. Starts going more classic, which is more
transition to classic. Yep.
brown sugar, maple, oak, vanilla type stuff. And then it starts transitioning into modern, which I think we're at here in the 01, or at least getting there. More of the caramel here, toffee, so a little sweeter, like we're talking about here. And I'm assuming that's just going to get a little sweeter. At least for me, I think it's going to be a little spicier with the regular one, but that profile is going to carry on to more of the modern as we keep going.
Right. D Brown, do I see Wild Turkey offering single barrel cask strength? No.
What proof is the
Russell's?
No, not the. Oh, yeah, that would be pretty close. But the 101, God, what are those things? I don't buy them. Is why I can't remember the name of them. The what are they called? The Wild Turkey store picks that nobody gets that they just
The
changed
Kentucky
labels on.
Spirit?
Yes, thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
Right.
That's a 101 store pick essentially, right?
Yeah. Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't see them on. I don't see them doing a barrel proof. I really don't.
Yeah.
They have the Russells, which is 110, and I mean a lot of those barrels are coming out like 112 to 116. So
right.
just a little bit of water and they're down to 110.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the Knob Creek stuff. Going watering down to 120. You know what I mean? Like it's not a huge jump, and it saves them from making custom labels for everyone. So
Yeah, Turkey doesn't get very high anyways. You have their Masters Keep 17, the original 17 year, not the new one.
right.
That was low 90s, something like that, and that was
Yeah, and that
barrel
was
proof.
beautiful, too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
a lot of their stuff's like that too.
Yep. Which,
All
hey,
right.
I mean, if they're putting it in at a lower proof in the barrel, I am totally cool with that.
Oh yeah, it's not, the flavors aren't diluted at all.
And I've had quite a few Four Roses picks in like the low 100.
Oh
proof
yeah,
area.
a good like
They're
100 to 105 Four Roses pick is
Oh,
delicious.
they're fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
people go crazy over the 6-tier stuff, but honestly, I like the lower tier stuff
I
myself.
prefer the lower tier stuff.
I really do. But hey, whatever they want to go crazy over, that's cool.
Yep. A lot of people chase proof too. It's another
Yep.
flaw with secondary.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's some light whiskey that's been coming out in the last year or two.
Oh yes.
And fucking tastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some light whiskey stuff that I would put easily on par with a lot of the BTAC series,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I mean. Some of the best allocated stuff out there. I mean, it's
A lot of people just see light whiskey and they don't even think about
don't
it.
even think about it.
Yep.
Nope. John, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Super chat for $10.
Awesome.
Drinking Wild Turkey 101 from 2017. And Blinker, if I could speak, Bourbon Blind Glenn Cairn with his awesome Bourbon Blind Plank member coin.
Awesome. Cheers, John. I got my plank member
Oh, yeah, I saw Chad's
somewhere around
thing over
here. This one, I think, is the
And
silver one.
that should be, yeah, that's it, yeah. And
Old
those are
plank.
never to be repeated. So, if you don't have one, I apologize.
Cheers, John.
Cheers, John.
Are you on 09?
That was the 09.
Fruitier for me.
Fruitier and spicier.
And spicier. Yep.
Yep. Definitely getting towards that Wild Turkey spiciness.
Mm-hmm.
John, appreciate you, sir. Thank you. You guys are freaking awesome. And I've met John in person. He is totally cool, dude. Super chill, very nice. Couldn't ask for a nicer guy. Yeah, definitely more earthy, spicy.
Mm-hmm. I won't say it's more earthy than the 01. 01 was earthier. For sure.
Right. I meant like fruity, spicy.
Oh, yeah. Definitely more fruity, spicy on this one. A lot closer to modern day. Modern day to me is a little more spicy and a little less fruit, but still has the fruit. So it's the same profile, just not quite the same.
I get a lot of apples, pears.
Mm-hmm.
fruit.
Definitely more fruit forward on this one for sure.
Yeah, which is delicious.
Yeah, and all of these have been delicious, even though we're nitpicking and saying that we like.
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
other one's better.
I wouldn't turn down any of these.
They're all fantastic.
I really lucked into a 2003. Someone sent us over, and
the early 2000s are all
amazing.
good, very, very good. And when you compare any of these to the modern, even if it's not better, the change itself is so much fun. Just to do a little A/B comparison. So if you
Oh,
can even get
absolutely.
just an 09 like we're drinking now, that's not dusty by any means, but it's 11 years ago. So you can just
Right.
compare just the difference there. Awesome experience to do.
And dude, again, like I'm super blown away that you shared these with me.
Oh yeah, I'm all about.
That's
So I don't
awesome.
have a lot of friends that are gonna really appreciate these. So
Right.
sharing with somebody that will. I don't want to drink them by myself. There's no
I
fun
know
in
what you mean,
that.
man.
So
There's only like 2 or 3 people here in town that I know that appreciate whiskey, and
hmm
it's
and
makes
this
fun
is
sometimes, man.
it's a good little learning experience if anybody's looking into Dusty Turkey because that's a big market right now. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna go back to the 01. I think I like the 09 a little bit better.
I'm gonna have a little pour of the current day,
Yeah, I did that with when we first tried the 01
and
just to
I'm pretty
see.
sure this is a 2020. So
Mine's probably a 19, but there shouldn't be a change.
no, LLHE, and I'm pretty sure H is 20, right?
Don't ask me. Ask the guy who lagged out.
Dave, help!
I
Help! I need an adult.
can't even find my code. Where is it at? Somewhere around here. Oh, there it is. LHK. Couldn't tell you. I know I bought it in 2019. The earliest it would be is 2018, but none of that's changed over the past couple of years.
Right. Oh man, it's been going so fast lately, and I
Mhm.
mean, this year hasn't even really happened, more or less. You know what I mean?
It will
It's
be
almost like time has
erased.
stood still this
It'll
entire
be
year.
erased from my mind, anyways. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right back to the 09 because I feel like that's a huge difference, even in just 10 years, 11 years.
Wow. So going back to this present day, I mean, it's fantastic, but
So different, and that's only.
it is.
I mean, I say only. It's still a decade, but
I mean,
10,
yeah,
11 years difference, and it can change that much.
yeah. It's really, it's like apple pie, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot more apple for sure, and even more spicy to me too, a little bit.
That's delicious.
It almost makes you appreciate. Not saying it's better, but definitely makes me appreciate the modern day more because people are paying outrageous amounts for all these older stuff, and this is still this good. Like I'm not tasting the modern and saying, "Oh, this sucks," because I've been drinking all this good stuff.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
this is still amazing.
If I had to pick one though, it would be between the 76 and the 81.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a real quick, just boom,
Side
boom,
by
boom, boom,
side.
boom. See which one stands out the most. Type deal. I'm thinking just from memory what we just did. For me, preferably probably 81, but we'll see.
That's a hard call, man.
Yeah, it's hard, but I mean you can't go wrong with any of them.
Mm-mm. I mean, even if you could get nothing but present day 101, I mean, I don't want to say you're not missing out, but it's not like you're hurting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's obviously not the same, but
It's not the same, but it's still delicious.
we didn't just taste that modern and say that sucks. Why did they change so much? Like that was still a very, very good pour.
It very well, could be a possibility,
Mm-hmm.
or could have been.
Oh, 76 is really good though. It's just it has no spice, and I like spice, and that's the only flaw
Right.
I have with it. But a lot of people would absolutely love that. So smooth, all the caramel, vanilla, creme brulee type notes in that one for me. And then you get that combined with the older, like we said, well-aged notes, like the leather tobacco, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. The only thing it's missing is spice for me. All right, 81. So the 81 tastes so much less spicy. Remember when we jumped from the 76 to 81? I said, boom, spice all up in the front. I don't, because we've been drinking the modern stuff now, I don't get that near as much now. That's crazy. I get a
it's
little
more
bit of
on
it.
the sweet side. That's a hard call, man. That's hard call.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like,
I'm leaning
I
more
really think it's one
76
of those things.
now.
Like, I could pick one today, and
Yep.
tomorrow taste them, and
Exactly right.
go the opposite way. Like that's, dude. I still can't believe you said all these to me. That's
That's what it's
so
for.
incredible, man.
So bourbon's not meant to be hoarded. It's not meant to be drank by yourself. It's not meant to be stared at. It's meant to be shared.
So am I doing this wrong?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, unless those are duplicates.
No, but again, like I said, it's one of those things. Like one day, Aaron counted like 200 open bottles. So
Right. Yeah. So you got to.
it's hard to open new ones without before you kill.
Yeah, and it is it's a gotta catch them all type thing, Pokemon style. You gotta have them all.
Man. FOMO.
That doesn't mean you can. Yeah, that doesn't mean you can just pop it open when you get it. My collection, it's less than 100 bottles, it's hovering close to 100, but they're all open. But if I was 800 bottles deep, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I understand where you
I'm
kind of
somewhere
backstock.
between 600 and 800 probably.
Yeah.
But honestly, like there's probably a good 25% of my collection that is all store picks.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's hard to.
If you have any 81 or 76, drink that and immediately go to like an 01 or 09. I just got a super young note on the 01 when I drank that from the 81.
Yeah.
Just that big of a change. Yep. And they're supposed to be at least close to the same age.
Supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah, there is actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of that.
Big difference.
I don't want to say almost like a corniness.
Like grainy almost. Like
like a corn grain.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yep.
I'm going to say it's a tie between 81 and 76 because you can't compare them. And DJ made a good point. Could be because of the decanter.
Right.
I'm actually going to pour. I have a 72 right here.
Nice.
That's from a bottle. I'm going to compare that to the little bit I have left of this 81 bottle real quick. We're going to see if there's a big difference.
If you just the 72, you should know pretty quick if it's closer to the 76 or the 81.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What's up, Matt? I popped into your live stream for a little bit earlier.
Which Matt?
ADHD Whiskey.
Oh, what's up, man?
Matt Porter.
I can't see the live stream, so sorry about that. All right. That's already pretty dark.
If you walked into a store and saw 6 bottles, all from 1976, would you buy them all? If they were all at retail, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, retail for sure.
Absolutely, no question. No question.
Yeah, so Dusty whiskey in general is generally better, at least, or profile is different, I guess I should say. I shouldn't say better. I have an Old Crow Chessman actually sample
Right.
that is so chocolate and caramel and like a Snickers bar. It's amazing,
Right.
and I just don't get how it. And it's only 45%, something like that. I don't understand how it changed. Like the 45% stuff we get now, it just
Well, I
doesn't
think back then
compare.
a lot of it wasn't barreled at 125 proof like it is
Yeah,
now.
it's
You know what I
probably
mean?
the whole process has changed. It's
'Cause,
hard
like,
to compare.
there's a lot of Scotch that at barrel proof is in the 80s.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? 84, 86 proof at barrel proof. So obviously that's, they're in a completely different
Yeah.
country, but yeah, a long time ago, like they weren't going into high proof like they were today.
Okay, I will say this. What year is it? 72. Yeah. Real similar to the 76. It's really different.
Sorry, guys.
81 here. Coronavirus.
He's got the Rona. Michael Forbes. Does whiskey start to go sour or off if open for too long, oxidized like wine? It depends. Like this bottle is open, and you could probably leave it like this for 8 or 10 years, and it would be fine. If you left this bottle open for more than a year, it would definitely start to show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And what a lot of people will do once their whiskey gets, I mean, I just finish it once it gets down here, but it goes into like my mental category of I need to finish this soon.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, for you, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
some people will get like the 200 milliliter bottles or the 100 milliliter bottles and rebottle it in those to lower the amount of air in there.
Yeah. So if you can go to a smaller bottle, if you got different bottles, that's the best way to preserve it for sure. When I'm at half full, I say 6 months to a year tops, depending on the proof. Lower proof for me ages quicker, or I say ages, kind of doesn't last as long. If it's a 45% whiskey and it's got a lot more air, obviously more alcohol is going to come out and bring it down even more, cause it to go off a little more. If it's barrel proof at half full, it's got a lot more room for air. At least that's how I think of it. So it can drop it down a little bit, but still be awesome.
I just saw something. I need to fix that.
You got a little, yeah, that's going to definitely contaminate the hell out of that.
Yep, I just saw that. So that's got to get filtered.
Yep, need to strain that. So I got a French press for that for sure.
I have a Ninja coffee maker, and it's got like a stainless.
Oh yeah.
Built-in.
Yep, catch everything.
Coffee ground thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Filter. Filter. Yep. Well, I'm trying to fancy it up.
Just a filter. Yep.
Right. Let's try the CNF. What do you think about the 72? Closer to the 76 or 81?
Closer to 76 for sure.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have the spice. That's the thing. I don't think it was a decanter. I think it's just the time it was put out for sure.
Gotcha.
Again, awesome whiskey. Another night I would like it more. Super dark. Feels like it's more aged. A lot more of the tobaccos, oaks, leathers. Dark brown sugar, sweeter. Not too much sweeter, but a lot more spice in the 81. Which is funny because I said that when we first started, and then we kept progressing, and we got to the 09. Yeah.
Matt, Dan, what do you mean 1970 bottle of what? Has a recipe of 4 years or more older, 35% straight whiskey, 65% grain neutral spirits. Oh, 80 pitch group.
Interesting.
So they were probably talking about something in the chat that I missed.
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so I have
Oh,
no
the
idea.
Chessman probably.
Oh, I did bring up Chessman. Yeah, Chessman's awesome.
Yeah, Matt was talking about the Chessman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Four Roses. Yeah, dude, Four Roses was not great before. What's her name was bottom out. Kieran. Was it Kieran? Pretty sure Kieran bought Four Roses. And they really turned them around. They, again, the pre-prohibition, Four Roses was awesome. And then after prohibition, it was not great. And then Kieran really turned them around.
All
Are you
right.
mixing all those together?
Yes, I am. There wasn't much left of the older stuff, so it's mostly newer stuff.
Nice.
Naturally, because the older stuff was better. So obviously, older stuff was better, but it wasn't. When I got to the standard, it really kind of put it in perspective for me. Like
Right.
all of it was good. It was obviously better when we started, and it got less as we progressed. But the fact that we pulled a $20 bottle at the end and said that's still
good.
really, really good, that says
So here-
a lot.
So what do you think a like an 81 turkey goes for on secondary now?
Now I've been off secondary for about a couple months now. Last I saw it, an 81 is going for. I want to. First number comes to mind 600, but
Right.
it may be higher. It may be higher than that.
Probably closer to 800 by now.
Yeah, by now probably 800. Yeah, I know low 70s.
It's not an $800 bottle. It's not a
Oh,
$600
no.
bottle.
It's good. It's very, very good. Buy a
Dan
sample
said
if you
6 to
can.
650.
Is it 850? Or
6 to
600?
650.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. But the low 70s even, and I like the 81 better, but the low 70s were going for upper 800s to 1,000 last I saw.
Right. And I'm getting into a couple Russells real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Over the
I've
Edge
actually,
from Elixir.
let's see what I got.
Tarak knows what's up. He's in the chat. That's his bot. That's his.
I'm
And-
not cool enough to get Elixir picks, but I am cool enough.
Roster.
I'm
That's
cool
the
enough
Elixir
to buy too much or to spend too much on this. It'll be a lot cooler if you did. And honestly, not a very good juice.
Really?
I bought it for the sticker. Yeah. And not. I mean, it's good. No, you're never gonna get a bad Russell's pick, but
Actually, all three picks I have right now open are all from Elixir. This is the Nashville pick
nice.
that they did. So
I'll tell you one I had recently, and I just stumbled upon it. ABC store, awesome deals in small town Alabama ABC stores. It still has the like rope looking
yeah,
elastic on it. It's a G5 pick. It says Eddie Russell's favorite warehouse. One of my favorite picks I've ever gotten.
yeah.
Amazing.
Let me guess, they're all gone.
Yes. But they're gone because I got greedy and sold them all. I bought out the whole store. Sold them all for a ridiculous amount of money because people like Warehouse G for some reason.
Right.
Not even some reason. They are really good. But it was from 2016 too. And I just found it probably 3 months ago.
Nice.
So, yeah, just sitting there. Yeah.
Yeah, some guy just came across a whole bunch of 16, I want to say, Kentucky Spirit and 17 Russells. So
you can't go wrong with Russells. I also got this one. Awesome pick. Warehouse D and G are my favorite. So
Right.
obviously big discrepancy in any warehouse. My profiles, I like the D's a little fruitier for me.
Mm-hmm.
G's a little spicier, a little funky. G for me is the closest you can get to Dusty Turkey. It's not nowhere near the same, but the closest you can get to Dusty Turkey without buying Dusty Turkey, at least for me.
Right.
It's good. I got that dusty note to me.
Yep. I would agree.
The other one that I showed you that I bought for the sticker was a B. Not a big fan of B, but some people are.
I mean, it's hard to find a bad Russell's pick.
Yeah, and like that, yeah, it's still
Some are
good.
better than others, but it's hard to find
Yeah.
a bad one.
And the thing is, you get stuck comparing it to others, saying like, "Oh, this whiskey sucks because I had the D that was so good, or I had the G that was so good."
Right. But when you look at it,
this
by
is
itself,
terrible.
like, it's so good.
Yeah, by itself, and that's so. Right to the next point. I mean, you talked about this earlier. Stag. Talk about the 2019 Stag. Everybody knows it sucked, right? It was
Right.
terrible. Wasn't a bad whiskey. If you drink it by itself and just had that whiskey alone, great whiskey. If you found out it was a 2019 George T. Stag and compared it to the past Stags, now all of a
You're like,
sudden
what the
it's
hell?
a terrible whiskey. Yeah, like not even
Right.
drinkable. So that's kind of like the perspective you have to have on these things, especially
for sure.
different years releases. Like, still good whiskey. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different than the other years. It may be less than the Stag, but Stag is held to a tier up here. So the 2019 Stag may be here, but Wild Turkey is still kind
Right.
of in this
I
range.
don't know. I wasn't a fan of the 19 Stag, even without the Stag name.
Mhm.
I will say it's gotten better since it's been open, but the first like month or so, it just had that straight up cherry cough syrup taste,
Mhm.
and it just killed it. Like I love
Yeah.
cherry flavor in bourbon, but it was that cough syrup cherry.
Yeah, it can be overbearing. So Buffalo Trace, their whole profile to me is that, and I like that, but it
Right.
can be overbearing. I've
Like
had,
Aaron calls it cherry Coke.
yeah, and I
And I
agree
can
with
totally
her.
see it.
I've had some stuff that tastes just like cherry Coke from them.
Mhm.
And if that's not your thing, great. That is my thing, so I'm a
I do
little
like cherry
biased. Yeah, so I'm
Right.
all for it. I will say the 2019 Stag compared to at least the last 3 years was the worst of the bunch. It was terrible. So,
Right.
but
The 17 was money.
that's what I've got. I've got the 17 and the 11 right now. That's all I've got, and I'm babying them.
Yeah. Yeah, I killed off my 18, and the 19 is hard to drink. I pour it for a lot of other people, and they seem to enjoy it. But
Yeah, 19 is
that's
a good
not-
one to bring out for anybody.
I still have about a half bottle of the 17 that I'm
17 just
nursing.
it's got a little more spice leather type notes. It's fantastic. The 11 is one of the hazmats. That's one of my dream bottles that I'm just gonna. It's about half empty now. I don't know when I'm gonna pour another glass. Like it's one of
Right.
those that you just hurt every time you pour a little bit.
You're like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
good. But
Yeah, that's just a little bit less that I get to save.
yep.
It's fantastic.
You save it forever. Someone's
Yeah.
got to drink it.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. And that's kind of, I'm not scared to open bottles and I'll drink them. But when they started getting a little more air than whiskey, then I started getting a little bit apprehensive about it.
Right. So, well, anyway, man, I got to get out of here. We've been on here for an hour and a half. But, dude, Chad, seriously, thank you, man. That's
I had a lot of fun.
absolutely. And like you said, I mean, whiskey's made for sharing. You know what I mean? It's,
Mhm.
you know, I've said it 1,000 times, but by myself, I'm drinking 101, Four Roses small batch, maybe single barrel, and, a couple other cheaper bottles usually. And then when people
Right.
come over is when I break out the good stuff.
Exactly. It's meant
I'm
to
like,
be
dude, you
shared.
gotta try this. You gotta try this. You gotta try this. Like,
Right.
so
And especially if you're able to get stuff with little history behind it, little older stuff that people can't get. Why would you want to sit there and drink that by yourself, right? You want to
Right.
drink that with somebody else that can enjoy it with you. So,
Like, and my thing is like, I just love to taste everything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even necessarily
Right.
have to have a bottle of it. Sometimes it's nice to have, especially if it's really good. But I'd love tasting everything, and
I'm the
that's
same. I'm the same way. I'd rather have samples of everything than bottles.
oh yeah. I mean, if I could get a sample of everything out there, then hell
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Yeah.
Like if
I
I
mean,
could
there's
get, if I
some
could
stuff
get,
you'd rather have
if
a
I could
bottle
get
of. But
25 1-ounce samples of say smoke wagon picks,
yes.
absolutely, man. Instead of like instead of one bottle, absolutely. I want the 25 different ones.
Right.
Like I want to taste everything.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me on. I'm glad that you got to experience the flight with me. That was actually the first time I've tried all of those except for the 92 and the 09. So it
Nice.
was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, man. Everyone in the chat, appreciate all you guys. Super chats, you guys are fucking awesome. Helping build the studio. That's a whole other process in itself. But I actually have wood dust in my back of my lungs from where I was sanding off the bar top, the cedar bar top, because it's just straight rough cut slab. I was sanding it down and I wasn't wearing a mask, and I definitely got some wood dust in the back of my throat and probably in my lungs. So, that feels good. But yeah, whiskey helps.
Yes, it does.
Appreciate all you guys, and we will catch you next week.